Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining us here on Outschool Live. I'm hearing some audio issues and some double audio coming through. Excellent. I'll go ahead and address that on my end. Thank you, Megan, on the back end. Well, thank you so much for joining us. As you saw, that was our new tutoring video. We are all so excited about our tutoring classes and our Learn and Earn Showdown, where we are celebrating learning, and you can win a year of free tutoring on Outschool for the first 100 families to complete 8 tutoring sessions. You can also get $50 in credit, Apple iPad Mini, exclusive Outschool swag, and all you have to do is go check out outschooler.me/tutoring promo for more information. Now, if you're not familiar with Outschool, we are an Outschool online learning community and support system for your learners' education journey. And today we are talking about math and math success. If you are new to the Outschool community, please ask questions on this thread and reach out, and you can also get $10 off of your first class with the promo code GoLive10, and that's all capitals, GoLive10 for your first class. That being said, I am very excited to welcome Cassie to the stage. Round of
Hey,
applause.
Fernando.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Cassie, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us today.
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm super distracted because I'm getting a second audio feed coming at me.
Yeah, it's coming through a little bit
Um,
on my end too.
I'm going to try.
You're gonna try
I'm going to try to
headphones?
put on some
Okay.
headphones and see if that helps. While I'm doing that, Cassie, tell us about yourself. Who should probably first declare that you are on the Outschool school. Yeah?
I am, yes. I am the partnership specialist here at Outschool, primarily working with public charters and ESA programs throughout the country. So yes, I am on the team. Does your sound good now?
Um, I'm trying to figure out what's coming up with my delay here. Now it's getting longer. Delay. So I'm having some technical issues here.
Okay. Do you want me to
Cassie, do
just
you
start
mind?
talking?
I'm gonna remove myself, but if you don't mind, you can handle the stage. You can
Okay.
tell us about your homeschooling journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I'll
I
remove
will
myself.
do
I
that.
think I can adjust my mic
All right.
issue.
We'll see you back here in a few minutes, Fernando.
Thank you.
So, like Fernando said, I am a homeschool. Oh, I'm an Outschool team member, but I'm also a homeschool charter parent here in California, and I've been homeschooling my kids for this is our 10th year, which is crazy. Um, but I am here today to talk about math tutoring mostly, and our homeschool journey and how we have used math tutoring through that journey. We have been homeschooling. My oldest is in high school now, and then I have twins who are 11. One of them is neurodiverse, and oh, hello, Megan. And I have, like I said, been homeschooling for 10 years, and math has kind of always been a struggle for us since day one. Part of that's on me. I'm not a big math person. I don't love it, and math and myself and my kids just don't mesh very well. Yay, Fernando's back. So in any event, we have used a lot of different tactics for math in our homeschool over the last decade. I think I've tried every math curriculum that exists, some with some success and some not successful at all. But one of the golden moments has definitely been tutoring. Has been one of the things that we found to be the most successful through the years for more than one of my kids. So
Thank you very much for your patience, Cassie, and thank you, Megan, for always being there on the spot and ready to jump in. Really appreciate it. I figured out what the issue was.
Sounds much better.
Yes, thank you very much. So, all right, if I was able to listen again, you homeschool. How many learners do you homeschool again?
Three, in various ways. One of them is currently attending virtual school through our local district. Um, yeah.
Virtual school. And then you also have a learner who is made it off to like a conservatory.
So she's the one who's doing virtual homeschooling through our district. My oldest
Okay.
daughter is um, doing a year-long ballet program at Kansas City Ballet. So it is a Monday through Friday day program. So homeschooling has allowed her to be able to do that while doing her schooling in the evenings and on the weekends.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
well, I don't want to segue, but that sounds like one of the wonderful things you can do when you're homeschooling
Yeah,
is
yeah, because
take them
it's
up.
a Monday through Friday, like 9:30 to 3:15 and during the day, like traditional school hours. She's dancing, so, she has to find an alternative schooling situation, so tailor-made for homeschooling.
Oh, awesome. So you're saying that all right, we are talking about math, right?
Yeah.
Math success, but I want to figure out what math challenges did you see? Yeah, tell me more about the math challenges.
So as I was mentioning to Megan, when she briefly stood in for you, I am not a math person. So math is one of those subjects for me that is a challenging subject to teach. So that's the first challenge is that not sometimes there's certain subjects when you're homeschooling you're just not great at, or you're not passionate about, or you struggle with yourself, or you struggle with teaching. So math is that for me. I don't love it, and I am not a good teacher of the math. So that was one of our first challenges. Second challenge was I have of my three learners, one of them is super math brained. She can do everything in her head. She's just, I mean, she barely needs anybody. She's just does it. Numbers are her thing. The other two, however, are have more challenges when it comes to math, and they're different challenges. My oldest, who is off at ballet school, is one of those, and then one of my twins, who is neurodiverse, and in her words, math doesn't matter. So that's a that's a pretty big challenge because she doesn't think it's necessary. So we've had a lot of struggle getting her to understand, just first of all, the relevance of math in life, and then why she needs to learn it, and then we're trying to teach her, getting her to actually learn correctly, or find ways that she can learn, and her brain just works so differently that she, sitting down and doing a traditional math curriculum is not for her. So tutoring has really come into play, for both of them actually over the years.
What kind of all right, so I'm hearing you say you've had 3 different sort of homeschooling approaches
Yeah.
that you sort of maybe tailored toward each, because it's I love the more I find out about other homeschoolers is how different everyone's approach is. And it's exciting to see that even within your approach, you're using it different approaches for different kids. What kinds of approaches did you try in math?
So for my oldest, who's in high school now, we got her a tutor years ago, and we that was one of the honestly, I mean, I think we tried like three different math curriculums with her first to just see if maybe spiral versus mastery based, if a different approach would help her. And when that didn't really seem to work and she and I really just butt heads, we found a tutor for her, and that tutor, in that case it was a live in person. This was a number of years ago, and she met with her twice a week, and it happened to be a friend of ours who is really math brained, and does tutoring, and so she clicked with her, and she met with her, I think it was half an hour twice a week for a number of years, honestly. And they basically, I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily call it, it was more than tutoring. She really did a lot of her math. And now, as a high schooler, she's in 10th grade. As a high schooler, she's testing well above her grade level in math. She's getting like 113% in her math class. And she even told me recently math is her favorite subject, which I was a little bit floored by. So, yeah. So that was definitely a tutoring success story for her.
Oh, So thank you. I see some more folks tuning in. If you're just tuning in, we are here at Outschool Live. We're talking about math and how to find homeschooling success with math here at Outschool. If you're new to Outschool community, please let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And of course, you can always enter your code for $10 off. Go live 10 for $10 off your first class here at Outschool, where we have classes, small group classes, to one-on-one tutoring in any subject that you can almost imagine. And Cassie's here has had success in homeschooling math in some complete 180s with your learners,
Yeah,
sounds like.
with one of them. I wouldn't say the other one is, quite there to calling math her favorite subject yet, but
All right,
yes.
fair. Do you think will they be? Do you think you'll try tutoring with them, or are you still trying
Yeah.
curriculum
So
with them?
our other one, who is one of my twins, who's neurodiverse, she's actually done tutoring, small group 2-on-1 tutoring on Outschool, and that was a huge. I mean, I would call it a big success. Um, you know, I obviously am not. My aim isn't to make math her favorite subject. So to me, that's a cherry on top for my oldest. But for her, it really was just to get her to see that math is relevant and that you need it in everyday things. And so we were able to, I teamed up actually with another friend who daughter learns very similarly to my daughter, and they are best friends. And so that was a motivator. That's a huge motivator sometimes to get kids to do, something that they're not interested in or they're not motivated to do. And we worked with a tutor on Outschool to kind of curate a class where they were meeting twice a week and they were getting tutoring in specific areas that they both needed. And we worked on reward systems as a part of that, where every so often, if they did a certain amount of things, then they got to do like a unicorn escape room and different stuff like that in the classroom with the Outschool educator. And it was just a really great experience because we were able to work, one-on-one with the tutor, well, 2-on-1 with the tutor, and really curate a class that worked well for our kids and really helped them both thrive in math and actually be motivated most of the time to go to class, which was not something that was happening here when I was trying to teach math. So yeah, so it was great. And then we were able to hyper focus on areas that were like the biggest struggle areas.
How earlier you said in helping learners to see the relevance of math. How do you explain the relevance of math to your learners? And
Um, you know,
was it successful all the time?
Sometimes, we talk a lot about I don't expect my kids, I'm a little bit of an eclectic homeschooler and I don't follow a super traditional way of schooling. So we talk a lot about how, I don't expect my kids to do advanced, calculus or physics or whatever, unless that's something they're super interested in and they want to, and or the profession they want requires it. But we do need to, we talk about you do need to know how to add. And when I'll try to use real life examples just when we're talking at home, but then when we're out in the real world, like, hey, we're at the grocery store and, you want to know how much a bag of apples is going to cost. We need to know how to look at the scale and what the numbers mean as it's, weighing, or what 129 a pound means, and how to calculate that if you wanted to. You need to know how to budget and how to, keep those things. And that requires math. So, it's not necessarily the most advanced math on the planet, but we need to know how to do certain things where we're adding and we're, using different math for different things. So we try to explain that math is, a part of all of our lives, whether we realize it or not, to a certain degree. And obviously, for some people, it's way bigger part of their life in a way more advanced way than for other people. But we discuss it as that kind of trying to put in some real life examples. And especially when we're out in the world, and I can be like, hey, here's an example of where you need math. Because especially for her, being a neurodiverse learner, she needs like tangible ways to see that math is important, as opposed to mom just telling her, because she's very fact fact-based. She's very literal. So she wants, like, if you don't give me the facts and you don't prove it to me, then I don't believe you. It's kind of her mantra. So lots of real world examples when we're actually out in the real world is helpful.
How did you? Well, I'm thinking of my own experience with tutoring, and it sounded too like you were having like some headbutting issues on the subject of
Mm-hmm.
math,
Mm-hmm.
and I I'm thinking of my experience with music in that, I'm a musician, and it wasn't necessarily headbutting issues. Well, maybe it was headbutting issues, but it was almost as like I'm pretty good in this area and I know what needs to be done, but it's really hard to separate like my professional musician self from like teaching my own learners. So I sought out one-on-one tutoring. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I, I my follow-up question is, I found out just by, word of mouth in the community
Mm-hmm.
of hearings like, oh, this is um I think this tutor might work for my learners. How did you find your math tutor? And what were
So
you looking for?
so yeah, I mean, I am really big on using the teacher like landing pages when I'm trying to find classes, any class for my kid, but especially a tutoring class. Um, I always message the educator first, to see if and I explain things about my child and how they learn and where they are, and try to see if it's a good fit. I like to watch the videos of that the teachers have posted on their pages if they have one, just to see if I feel like it's somebody that my child will mesh with. She's pretty particular. She likes bubbly personalities, so I try to find something that I know will work for her, and then just also kind of look at their experience. Do they have experience? In her case, do they have experience with neurodiverse learners? Do they have experience? How long, can I see? Do they have other? I use reviews. Have other parents said they've had good experiences? Stuff like that. And then I kind of just message some teachers and see, and then figure out. Sometimes they're not available, and or whatever. But then message and see who I think is the best fit, or who's scheduled works with ours. Different stuff like that. um, so I think that's a really, powerful tool, is that teacher admin page for me in trying to find something. And in on that note, I think tutoring for her, for both of my girls, and my oldest is not neurodiverse, so for both of them, one of the powerful things about tutoring is that ability to build a relationship with somebody over time, and to really start becoming comfortable. The first few tutoring sessions are not going to be as fruitful, because they're still getting to know each other, and they're getting to know each other's styles. But building that relationship over time, starting to feel comfortable, and be able for the student to be able to feel vulnerable with that tutor, and make mistakes, right? Like, even though my daughter doesn't think math matters, she also doesn't want to make a mistake in front of you. So part of the beauty of a tutor is that she has one-on-one, or in her case this was two-on-one, but with her best friend, and she's not worried about messing up in front of another student. And so I think that's a really powerful component of tutoring, is that she doesn't feel like, if I get the answer to this problem wrong, I'm going to be embarrassed in front of these other kids. And for her, that's a big motivator. She doesn't like to feel like she's embarrassed, or that she, who does, who wants to get things wrong in front of other people. So that's a huge component for tutoring. And part of what's worth the price of admission for me, is giving her that comfortability to, one, start really building a relationship with that tutor, and the tutor to build a relationship with her, getting to know her learning style, getting to know what her strengths and weaknesses are. And then, I always, Siri decided to join the party.
She doesn't know how to respond.
I always hear, like, when I'll hear her from the other room, like, I hear giggling and stuff, it's, which is so fun to hear, as a parent, that she's building those relationships with her tutor. So, yeah, so those are some things for me. Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
No, it's perfect. I really do. I do love that idea of crafting different experiences for my child and different relationships as well. Like, I do want them to have a group a group setting and learn how to, learn how to manage within a group, and I also want them to be able to dive deep in a one-on-one relationship with,
Mhm.
an adult or an expert or someone where they can really dive deep.
Yeah.
Um, and thank you, Megan, for popping in the Go Live 10 code for families who are new to Outschool. If you've not heard of Outschool, we are your online education support system and learning community on classes of all types, from small group classes to async group communities to one-on-one tutoring. And we're talking here with Cassie, who's had success in homeschooling math, and specifically in tutoring and finding a tutor. And um, it's super awesome opportunity. And I think I mean, not just Outschool, like the opportunity to have a tutor. Like
Mhm.
for me, as growing up as an individual, and I can call back, right, as a singer, had various voice coaches one-on-one, and those experiences, I still lean on those experiences and those lessons I learned, that I can absorb more in a one-on-one
Mhm.
generally than I do in a group. Would you say that's been the same? And I've seen that in my learner. Would you say that see the same in your learner?
Oh, for sure. Especially, well, really both of them, because that focused attention is so important. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love Outschool in general. Our class sizes are so much smaller. That helps give that focused attention. Because I agree. I mean, I want my kids to be able to function in a group and, just one on one as well. So yeah, I do think that not being distracted by what other people are saying or doing, and my daughter, who is neurodiverse, because she's a rule follower, she can get very distracted. She goes to an in-person class day and takes some academic classes and also does some enrichment. And last year she'd come home and, mom, there are two boys and they just keep fighting with each other. And I'm like, well, honey, just focus on what you're doing. And but mom, they're fighting. Are they bothering you? Well, no, they're not talking to me, but they're not following the rules. And that was enough for her to be distracted and then not be able to finish her work. So, giving her a tutor for a subject that she struggles with really allows her to hyper focus on that and not have the distraction of what other kids might be saying, whether it's good or bad. She just gets distracted. She has ADHD, so she gets distracted very easily and loses focus. She needs a lot of redirection. Sometimes she'll just start talking about fairies and unicorns in the middle of math class and want to share an art project she did 2 weeks ago. So
I like this learner. I like this learner.
so she really needs a lot of redirection, which can be difficult in a group setting. So it really helps that a tutor can give her that. And again, that goes to learning her learning style and who she is, and that tutor can really focus on that. And I think that that's one of the great things that we've had experience with on Outschool, is those tutors who can, our tutors are so good at working with each individual student and family to figure out what is going to work for that student, because what works for that student doesn't necessarily work for the next one. So it's been a huge value prop.
Well, that reminds me of what I was speaking with Sarah Smithers last week, and she talked about, her one of the greatest skill sets she brings to homeschooling is knowing her
Mhm.
child, knowing her learner, and that gift to be able to have another adult and another educator know your child is an amazing, I think, an amazing gift for your learner, an amazing resource for your learner, and that's super exciting that you found that for your learners.
Yeah, it's great. I
Um,
love it.
yeah, so congratulations and
Thank you.
thank you for putting another learner in the world with
Yeah.
that much attention to their learning and lifelong learning.
Yeah, I mean, I love the benefit we have seen from tutoring. And the result isn't always the same, and that's okay, right? Like my oldest now, her favorite subject is math. Great. My youngest, that may not be the case. That's also okay. But we're seeing the type of success that each learner needs, and that looks different for every learner, and that's cool. So I'm, huge fan of tutoring. Finding the tutor that works for you and your student. So
Absolutely. Well, Cassie, we're coming up to the end of the segment. Do you want to
yeah,
open up in case there's anybody who had some last
yeah,
minute questions from from Instagram or from any of the other channels. Pop those questions in if you got them, because I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up in about 30 seconds here. I want to thank Cassie for showing up and asking
Absolutely.
us about and telling us about your homeschooling journey and math. And I do want to say that Cassie is a part of our parent community. So reach out if you want to find out more about our parent community and leaning on the resource of other parents in Outschool. Please comment in the thread and ask about that. Ask about our new buyer promo code. Ask about our Learn and Earn showdown that we have. Ask about our upcoming Outschool lives with other experts. Next week is Amir, co-founder of Outschool,
Ooh,
coming up. Yep. Ooh, big stuff. I'm gonna have to whew,
I don't
prepare.
know. I'm going to be a tough act to follow, Amir.
Oh, did you hear that? Amir threw down the gauntlet. All right, I'm gonna cut that snippet out and send it to him. Um, yeah, we're talking about academics in the 21st century, and let's see what else. And then also let's see also ways to sample tutoring with the Outschool mini classes.
Oh, yeah.
So we have so many programs going on. Please get involved in the Outschool community. Get involved in this thread. Just say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and if you have any questions at all, whether they're about homeschooling math or whether they're about Outschool in general, or even homeschooling or schooling in general and education. We have some education experts on our front line, Megan and Sarah, who are always there and superbly qualified. We do have a question. Um, question. What if I'm not sure where to start looking for a tutor on Outschool? Oh, that's a
That's a
good
good
question
one.
coming. So, Cassie, this is gonna be a quiz. Do you know the answer? I think I know the answer, but do you?
Well, I mean, I would say that if you're in our learner community, Megan and Sarah are a great place to start. They have fabulous teacher recommendations. So I would say that that would be one of the first things, and tap that learner community, like Fernanda was saying. I found some really great classes on the platform through the learner community because someone says, "Hey, this was a great class." And I go, "Ooh, I didn't realize we had that. That looks like something my kids would enjoy." So I would say that. And then, yeah, just search that one on one tutoring page too and start searching by the filters that work for you.
Yeah, so absolutely. So, right, you've got the search page, you have the online learning community. We have a learner community that's for learners. We also have a parent community for the parents. But then we also have our social team. We have Megan and Sarah. So you can reach out on any of our social pages, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Type in your question on the thread, on any of the threads, and reach out. And Megan and Sarah can get to you. They also have one-on-one meetings where they'll meet with you. Wait, that's still a thing, right, Megan? Yeah, looking, getting some head nods in the background. Yeah. So one-on-one sessions where they will meet with you, speak with you, and find out what's going to be a good fit for you and your learner. And their experience on Outschool, both as parents and educators, is superbly invaluable. So thank you so much, Megan and Sarah, for your work. Thank you, Cassie, for joining us. Are there any words of wisdom that you want to leave us with before we head on out? I'm
I
putting you
would just,
totally on the spot, by
it's
the
fine.
way.
I would just say if you have ever thought about tutoring one of your kids in a subject area that they just need a little help in, or maybe it's a subject you don't really feel comfortable teaching. It doesn't necessarily have to be a subject that they're struggling in. Try it out. Give it a shot. I mean, do commit to a month worth of tutoring and see what happens. You might be pleasantly surprised at the result, and then you can keep going from there.
Awesome. You heard it here, folks. Thanks so much, Cassie, for joining us. We'll see everyone next week on Outschool Live. Happy learning.